You're watching Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. You can give me a follow on Twitter. It's at HGrahamNFL. More Bears and NFL news, rumors, and updates over there. That's at HGrahamNFL on Twitter. Got a three-pack of rumors to get into and then some news items toward the end of the show. Are Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace off of the hot seat? I'll give this one 3 smoking J's. I can't say they're completely off the hot seat, but they're definitely safe for now. I don't think there's any question about that. Coming off a draft in which you trade up to get Justin Fields, and that in itself, I think, is the main signal and reason to why. Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune is reporting that from sources around the league, it sounds like Pace and Nagy have bought themselves 2 more years. Now, that's not 2 more years in addition to 2021. He's saying safe for 2021 and 2022, and I would tend to agree because you don't want to say, hey, even though we just allowed you to trade up for a franchise quarterback in Justin Fields, you're still on the hot seat this year and have to win X amount of games or you and Matt are gone. That doesn't really make sense from Bears ownership standpoint. So to me, I can't give it 4 smoking J's. I can't say it's 100% certainty, but I'm like 90-95% confident in saying that Pace and Nagy are safe through 2021 and will be back in 2022 as well, because you have to do this right when it comes to Justin Fields. You can't force him into action because you're like, well, crap, we started 2-5 and we're going to get fired if we don't start winning games soon. So let's just force Justin Fields in even if he's not ready. That's bad processing. I think barring a disaster, a loss of the locker room or something like that, this regime will return in 2022. So what do you guys think? I think they're off the hot seat for now. Get your votes in. Are Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy off of the hot seat? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Get your votes in on this one. We'll make the pinned comment this question on today's show so you can reply right there, yes that they are, or no that they're not. You'll play Matt Nagy, Matt Nagy's going to play Andy Dalton at least early on in this year, and they're going to groom Justin Fields. It's why you brought Dalton in. Yeah, you brought him in for safety purposes, thinking, oh, well, he might be our starter for the entire season, and maybe still that still plays out. But even more so now that you have a young rookie quarterback in Justin Fields, this is where Dalton becomes valuable, right? You're like, okay, we can win some games. We can be competitive with Dalton. I still think there's a decent chance this team could make the playoffs with Andy Dalton, especially if Aaron Rodgers is not in Green Bay, and that allows you time and patience when it comes to Justin Fields. Now, at the latest, Fields needs to be starting week 1 of 2022, otherwise something has gone severely wrong, but to circle back to kind of the idea of they're safe and they're not on the hot seat right now, that is the reason why. You got to be patient with Fields. We'll see what happens this season. The schedule's set to come out on May 12th, but we do know what the opponents are going to be. Obviously, the 6 divisional games, home and road for Lions, Packers, and Vikings. But it's a bit of a tough slate. You've got some tough opponents here, so you don't want to just force Fields into action if he's not ready. You got the 49ers who are going to be better. Cincinnati's an up-and-coming team. Arizona improved in the draft. I think the Giants did as well. We know Baltimore's a good team. That's just some of your other home games. Road games, they're tough as hell. Cleveland on the road. Tampa Bay, those are 2 top contenders. Las Vegas had a good offense last year. That'll be a fun game in Vegas, by the way. And then these are tough too. Rams, Seahawks, Steelers, all playoff games from a year ago. So the point in showing you guys this and talking about this is saying, hey, you start 0-2, you can't panic and just put Justin Fields in there. Like, Nagy and Pace are safe. Sure, you go 2-15 or something like that, and it's embarrassing and the locker room starts to wane, maybe you fire Pace and Nagy. But until something like that happens, they're probably going to be safe for 2022. Subscribe to Chicago Bears Now. Let's catch the 49ers report. Chase Sr. is trying to hold us off here on Bears Now, but we're closing in. We're less than 8,500 subs away from catching the 49ers. Come on, Justin Fields is better than Trey Lance. Hit that subscribe button. Videos almost every single day. There's a lot of excitement around this team. If you don't want to miss any Bears coverage, youtube.com/Bears Now. And hey, try to catch the 49ers report. They're about, 8,300 subs ahead of us. Let's get there as soon as possible. Go ahead and subscribe. Did the Vikings want Justin Fields? I wanted to go 4 smoking J's, but I can't say with 100% certainty, so I'll go 3 on this one as well. It seems pretty likely based on what we've been hearing. Rick Spielman, the Vikings general manager, said after the draft that they were actually looking to trade up from the number 14 pick. Now, he didn't say for exactly who, but then ESPN Vikings reporter Courtney Cronin said, yeah, Justin Fields, he was their guy. They were going to draft him if he fell to 14, and that tells me they may have tried to trade up as well. Shout out to Ryan Pace and the Bears for, hey, they pulled it off. They pulled the trigger for the trade and got their franchise quarterback. In Minnesota, I just got one thing to say for you. Sucks for you, Vikings fans. You didn't get Justin Fields. The Chicago Bears got him. Now, kudos to Kirk Cousins. He's your starter for at least a couple more years now, but they had to settle for Kellen Mond in the third round, who you Bears fans know I was not interested in the first place. So, sorry, Minnesota, you didn't get Justin Fields because Ryan Pace beat your GM to the trigger, which, hey, who would have saw that coming? Obviously, pulled off this trade here in which you gave up an extra first-round pick, a fourth and a fifth to move up from number 20 to number 11 to draft your franchise quarterback. And, hey, the Vikings settled for Mond, so best of luck to seeing how that plays out. I can see this now. Kellen Mond and Kirk Cousins this year, this is the new Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz. As soon as Cousins struggles, that fan base is going to be clamoring for Mond, and it's going to be entertaining as hell to watch from a Bears standpoint. Who's going to have the better career? Maybe some of you Kellen Mond truthers are still going to type KM, but we all know it's JF. Type JF for Justin Fields. Type KM for Kellen Mond. Minnesota wanted Fields. We'll see how Kellen Mond feels about that. JF, KM, go ahead and get your votes in. And if you want to pick up a Justin Fields jersey, good news for you, they are still available even though they're flying off the shelves. Now, they're not going to ship out until later on in June because, A, you guys are buying so many of these, and B, rookie jerseys takes a little bit of time to print more and more of these. Chatsports.com/Fields1. Go ahead, click that link in the comments and in the description. By the way, they just added these t-shirt jerseys. If you're on a lower budget, these are just $35. High-quality Nike Fields t-shirts. Still got the number and name on the back. It's at that same link. Once you go to it, just scroll down a little bit. You'll be able to find these t-shirt jerseys as well. Chatsports.com/Fields1. Orange, navy, white for all for both the jerseys and the t-shirts. Go ahead and pick up your Justin Fields gear today. Are the Bears creating competition and speed at wide receiver? More smoke and Jays. I mean, clearly, right? Like, and this isn't some, rumor that's floating out there. I'm telling you that's what they're doing because just read what's happening. Just read the tea leaves here. Damiere Byrd, who just got added a couple of days ago right after our live show. We'll talk about him a little bit here as he's part of this. They signed him. You add Marquise Goodwin. You draft Daz Newsome. Those are all sub 4.4 guys. Chicago's getting deeper, they're getting faster, and they're getting more creative offensively. I think that's what's happening here, especially at the wide receiver position. Remember, Matt Nagy comes from that Chiefs coaching staff that had a ton of speed before he came over to Chicago. I think he wants more arsenal and more speed on this offense. A guy like Byrd is going to help in that area. He had a career year this past season. Marquise Goodwin, we'll see. He didn't play last year, but he's always been a guy that can give you an explosive player or two throughout a season. And then Daz Newsome out of North Carolina is a very explosive player as well. I thought he was a steal in the 6th round. I love what Chicago is doing offensively, obviously with Justin Fields, and I love the wide receiver additions. Speed. It's very critical. And sure, speed in itself isn't great, but when you have a number 1 wide receiver in Allen Robinson and a guy in Darnell Mooney who also is very fast, and those are proven wide receivers right there, if your depth guys are just speedsters, that's great in my opinion. We'll see what happens with Anthony Miller, but with Goodwin, with Newsome, you've got some real speed on this offense. You also have Tariq Cohen, of course, as well. 5.44 or less guys, basically, as Cohen was a 4.42 guy at his pro day back in college. But there is a lot of speed on this offense. Khalil Herbert, by the way, the 6th-round draft pick, he ran a 4.46 at his pro day. There's sub 4.5 guys everywhere in Chicago. And a couple of years ago, you basically had no speed. So things are changing around here. This offense could be very, very exciting in the near future. If you're excited about this Bears offense, type me in the comments. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think it's going to be a fun year. I think really in 2022 is when we'll see the real excitement. But I think even this year, even if Andy Dalton starts for a majority of the season, which we'll see, you're going to have things to be excited about for the first time in a while offensively. Type me in the comments if you're excited about this Bears offense. Harrison Graham here on Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. We've got some news to get into on today's show. Let's talk about the upcoming season. And hey, fans are going to return to Soldier Field in 2021. The Bears released a statement saying that single-game tickets will go on sale on May 12th, which, of course, is the night that the 2021 schedule will be announced for all 32 NFL teams. So you guys will get to see the opponents. And then if you guys want to go to games this year, you can start buying tickets that night. Unclear if Soldier Field will be at full capacity. They're working with the city to see what happens there. I think it will be by the time we get into August and September, but we shall see. Here's the statement from the Chicago Bears saying, the Bears are working closely with the city, state, and public health officials to safely welcome fans back to Soldier Field for the 2021 season. All city, state, and league COVID-19 policies will be strictly enforced at Bears home games this season. Look, these are exciting times. You got an exciting young nucleus to be fired up about. We'll see when Justin Fields takes over as the starting quarterback. Great draft. You got fans coming back to the stadium this year. This is a fun time to be a Bears fan, which has not always been the case in recent years. So I'm fired up about this. Good news to see fans back in Soldier Field in 2021. Hopefully it's at full capacity so we can see a rocked-out crowd at all 8 home games. Speaking of which, will you go to a game this year? If you're able to, would you go to a game? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. I think it's going to be a fun team. I think it's going to be a fun year. So get your votes in. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Will you go to a game in 2021? Wanted to hit on this as well. Some of you guys have been asking me about this rumor. It's been circulating for years. We talked about this last offseason even on Bears Now. Now, rumors of a new stadium in Arlington Heights, which is a suburb of Chicago, have been buzzing for a long time. Why? Well, Soldier Field's almost 100 years old, and it's got the lowest capacity of all stadiums in the NFL, and it's pretty run down. Like, at the very minimum, it needs an update. Now, Arlington Heights mayor, Tom Hayes, said that the Bears, he thinks they're considering a move to Arlington Heights for financial reasons and just a more practical reason to get a better stadium in the near future. Here's what he had to say in more detail, saying, I think the Bears are seriously considering it because it's such a unique piece of property. It has so much going for it in terms of its location in the northwest suburbs where a lot of their audience is. Here's what I have to say on this. Number one, Soldier Field, either way, especially if you're going to stay in Chicago and stay at that stadium, it's got to improve. It's due for a renovation. No renovation since 2003. This is the Chicago Bears, and you've got a stadium almost 100 years old, and the capacity at just over 61,000, dead last in the NFL. This isn't Cincinnati. This isn't Jacksonville. This is Chicago. Like, you got to make updates to your stadium if you want to keep up with the cream of the crop in the NFL, or you got to build a new state-of-the-art stadium. Like, those are kind of the options. So that's where we're sitting where it comes to a new stadium or a renovation of Soldier Field. Now, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot had this to say on the issue, saying, I think it's incumbent on us as a city to step up and look at ways in which we can make sure that the Bears fans, but also the Bears as an organization, have the best opportunities to maximize the fan experience and, of course, maximize revenues. And that last note right there is really the king of this, right? You build a new stadium in the suburbs where it's up and coming, and you build a roof on it, which would not be traditional Chicago Bears football, but you get a roof. You know what that means? You could do events year long, even when it's cold. You can have concerts. You can be a candidate to hold the Final Four in Chicago. Right now, you can't do those type of things at Soldier Field. It's just not realistic. It's a run-down stadium. So I ask you guys this, 10 years from now, go ahead and predict it for me. Where will the Bears be playing football? Chicago or Arlington Heights? I think it'll be one of these two cities. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and we'll see you next time.